So sometimes we can get caught up in the daily life of social media. We have everything at our fingertips. Sometimes we can get caught up in those things and comparison. So I wanted to talk with you guys today about having contentment in your own home and a couple of things that I did recently when I was having a little bout of feeling discontent. So I considered actually putting this video off because it is so gloomy outside. It's so dark. I have a light in here, but it's still not doing it justice, I don't think. But I was like, no, I've been putting this off. I went back and forth on whether or not I was actually going to record this video because, it's just sharing, deep things of what you go through and things that we all face. We all have to learn to be content in the day-to-day, no matter what season we were going through. Some of us go through hard things. Some of us go through loss. Some of us go through a change in life circumstance, and all of those things can be difficult. But I wanted to share with you guys first a couple of scriptures that really helped me out and are regarding thankfulness. So Proverbs 17:25 says, "A joyful heart is like good medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones." 1 Thessalonians 5:16 through 18 say, "Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, and everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you." So I am actually brought back to a pretty good memory that I had actually this past Christmas. And I just kind of want to give an example of giving thanks. I had this Christmas tree. It was a skinny pencil tree. And I'll see if I can share it here. It didn't go with this living room that we have. I knew that I wanted a larger tree this past Christmas, but I knew that I also wanted to be thankful with what I had. And we had decided we're going to make do this Christmas, and next Christmas we're going to buy a new Christmas tree. And so every time I looked at that Christmas tree, I made it a point to say, man, God, I'm so thankful for this Christmas tree that we have. I thank you for the Christmas tree that we had before that I really loved. And I thank you for the Christmas tree that you're going to provide for us next year. And so it's something so simple like that that can make a big difference. A thankful heart is good medicine. I was feeling discontent in my living room. We purchased this home and I loved the open space about it, but I was having a hard time placing our furniture. As you can see, this wall behind me, our couch is not centered or love seat. I've tried everything under the sun. But the way that the room is positioned, it would go too far close to our kitchen table. It just would not work. So it's off-centered. It was really bugging me. I thrifted some pieces, and I shared that in a recent video. I'll put a little link here. And I was so excited when I got them and said, oh my goodness, it's gonna work perfectly here. But then I started looking around my room and thinking about, oh man, like this piece of furniture under my TV, I'm not satisfied with it. I've never been satisfied with it. Our rug, I've been wanting to change that out for a long time. I don't like my coffee table. I hate how this couch isn't centered underneath this wall or between these two windows. And so I found my mind going around and around. I changed my living room around, which I do this often, but this time it was out of discontentment and then change it right back to where it was. And my girls were like, what are you doing, Mom? And I said, just wasting 30 minutes of my life. And that's what it can do. It can take up space in your mind for things that really matter. And having a beautiful home, that's important to me because I love it. It brings me joy. But if it comes at a cost, then maybe it's not quite worth it. So I do want to share a couple things that I did. Of course, I touched on that first and foremost, it's a heart issue. First and foremost, going back and remaining thankful for these things that we have. Wow, I'm so thankful that I have a piece of furniture under my TV and I have something to store my kids' toys in it, even if it's not my favorite thing right now. I'm so thankful that I have a rug in my living room that brightens up our space. I'm so thankful for this big open space in our living room to where I can put the furniture pieces in here. Apart from that, I did physically do some things that kind of helped change things up. There's definitely more that I'd like to do with this space, and I will, but it's life, and we can get caught up in comparing and scrolling on social media and comparing ourselves and wanting that final look right away. And I found that I just had to shut off social media for a little bit and not looking at the amazing ideas that these other brilliant minds have, turning off even YouTube and stop with some projects that I had or slow down with some of the projects that I had going on because I love doing those things, but it was exhausting me. So a couple physical things that I was able to do with my living room with actually changing things out. I changed out this picture, but I'll kind of show you guys. I did a little mock-up of some changes that I was trying out, which I may end up going with, but like I said, I had to slow down my roll a little bit and stop and put my heart in the right place to be thankful. Ultimately, I've known that I do want to change it up a little bit, and I've just been kind of brainstorming what can I do to really make this area look a little bit more balanced, I think I should say, with the couch being off-centered above it. And so I had a couple ideas. I'll put the ones here, but I had also thought my basket wall, I have a basket wall above my piano, and I thought maybe I could move it over here, but then I thought maybe I want some more color. So my brain's all over the place. So if you guys have any ideas, go ahead and leave a comment below. I would love to pick your brain of any ideas that you guys have had, but for now, I'm just settled with what I have. I also got a couple of throw pillows, and this was unintentionally. I got this one for like $8 at Walmart on clearance, and so that was one thing that kind of helped change it up. I also got new curtains, which I'm still working on getting all the wrinkles out of those. I actually did a DIY for these using fabric drop cloths, and so I cut them out, and you can see it all over Pinterest. And you can find tutorials on YouTube, and I'll share that as well. And then I redid my coffee table, and with this, it was just an afternoon project, and I don't know why I didn't do it before. I still would like to eventually change it out, but for right now, I think it works great for our living room. And so that's one thing that you can do is you can kind of change things up, paint things, rearrange things if you think that it could work. And those are things that kind of help this space and add some changes. I added a few more plants and few inexpensive pieces of decor, some thrifted items. And so sometimes just changing out those pieces is really just freshens up the space. So not necessarily dealing with placement or big expensive furniture pieces, but it definitely helps to kind of change things up a little bit and trick your eye that, wow, a plant can make the room look so different. It can brighten up a space. It can bring up so much, bring it some more liveliness. We do have plans for a new rug eventually, but I definitely want to go with a washable one, and I need a larger one, and those are a little bit more expensive. So I am waiting on that. Our plan is to do built-ins underneath our TV. We have an 80-inch TV in our living room. It was not my first choice, but that is another blessing that the previous owners actually had gotten that brand new, and that was left for us. You know, right now I have little kids in my home, and that requires toys. And I always said at one point in life, I hate having toys in my living room, but I found joy in it. I learned to embrace it. We, a long time ago, had a playroom for the kids when my oldest kids were younger, and I really loved that. I found that I really enjoyed where we're all sitting in the living room, and whether we have friends over or if it's just us, and our 3-year-old is playing right there, getting toys out, and she can just easily grab her capes, and she wants to be a superhero, or grab her baby dolls if she wants to be mama. So it's been joyful to be able to take something that a lot of times can be frustrating when you want this beautiful, perfect home and picked up all the time. But having designated spaces and organized spaces for the kids' toys in our living room. So if you're like us and you have to have it in the living room, having a designated space, a decluttered space, and have it organized is something that really helps free up some space in your mind, because a brain can function better when there is less clutter and when there's less things. So sometimes we just need to go through, and even if it's not doing a huge purge, because I hear all the time people get so overwhelmed with all the things and they don't know where to start with a little area. Start with one basket, and you don't have to organize it yet. Just declutter, and then go to the next basket and declutter. And once you've gotten through all those toy bins and those areas, then you can come up with an idea of how to organize them and what's the best spaces for things. And once you see everything, you may say, we don't actually need all of these things. So those are a couple tips that I have. The last thing that I wanted to share is the name of this channel, Brookside Haven. So in about, I believe it was 2018, I had a small shop called Brookside Market, and it was handmade wooden signs, and I enjoyed it, but it was time to close the doors on that. Since then, the name Brookside has remained in my heart, and so I created that name with the scripture Psalm 1:3 in mind, but I'll go ahead and read Psalm 1 through 3, so that way you kind of get the context of that. It says, "Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is the law of the Lord, and who meditates in his law day and night. That person is like a tree." This is Psalm 1:3. "That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers." So in my mind, Brookside, it's someone who's planted like a tree beside a stream. And so when I think about Brookside, I think about the contentment, the thankfulness, the joy, the life, the peace, the hope, everything that Jesus has given us. And then we have haven, and the definition of haven is a safety place, a refuge. And that's exactly what I want my home to be. And so Brookside Haven is a tree, my home. I want my home to be a safety, a refuge that is planted by the spring, planted by the brook, that it may never wither and it may never die in every season. And so including these hard seasons, including loss, including joyful seasons, including new life. And no matter what I'm going through, I want my family to have that refuge, but then also those who come, friends and guests to our home, that they will also be a refuge. But then this channel, I want this channel to be, in my videos, a place of refuge, that know that there is hope, that you will know that there is joy. And so in every season, we'll know that there is a brook, a spring of water. So I know that this video was definitely a different type of video. And like I said, I was putting it off because I was kind of unsure about it. But I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm so glad that you guys were here and come along with me. You will be seeing a new video in a couple of weeks. I'm going to try to share my daughter's bedroom reveal, and we're finally making progress on the steps. So thank you guys so much for coming along to share intentional living and affordable decorating. If you enjoyed this, please share and please subscribe. I'd love to have you stay.